Hello adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. Today the day is starting off. I laid in bed a little bit long today and I was planning on getting a little bit earlier start, but I kicked into high gear. I dumped my trash. I'm about to go inside and get something to drink, and then we're heading off to Yellowstone today. I'm so excited. Okay, I picked up something with a little bit of caffeine because I'm clearly tired. I also got bit on my eyebrow by something last night. I have no idea what. It's a good start to the morning, but it's a weird start to the morning. But overall, I spent $9.94 at the Walmart here. Now I gotta get over to the van and then put my things away, and then we're hitting the road. I am kind of intrigued because while I was shopping, I found something. It's kind of a little bit different. I need to scan this. Moving kind of weird today. The day is already getting away from me and I don't know where exactly it has gone, but that's okay. It's gonna be a good one. I found these, which are the Walmart version of a Twix bar and a Snickers bar, which I'd never seen at any other location. These were only like 78 cents a piece versus like almost $1.50 and $1.24 for the regular. I'm gonna go ahead and put them in here so they can stay nice and cool because it's gonna be hot. I also needed a couple of other things, just small things. Of course, I got the caffeine because I needed something, and I didn't want to drink coffee and then have to drive around the park and be, you know, plus coffee super dehydrates you sometimes, and I'm already feeling a little dehydrated, so I need to be drinking lots of water today too. But then I also found this. This is Dr. Squatch, and it's supposed to be moisturizing vanilla bourbon. They had a plain one too, but I thought the vanilla might be nice, so I'm gonna try it out. I've never tried this brand, so we'll see, we'll see. In fact, let me go ahead and get this open. The one thing that I have noticed is being in differing altitudes and then also in different climates almost every night, because it gets down in like the 40s at night, but during the day it's like almost 90, is it's really been brutal on my lips. And that kind of happens when I travel from climate to climate anyway sometimes, so I'll get like cracked lips even if I'm moisturizing them, and it just like sucks all of the moisture out of your body. So let's see. Okay, it's a bit thicker. I mean, it doesn't feel bad. It feels a bit more waxy, but now I'm ready to take off and hit the road. I'm already fueled up from yesterday, so it is time to go to Yellowstone. And I think what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna drive to Yellowstone and show you guys my drive there, because it's still about 60 some odd miles, 70 some odd miles from Cody into the park. And along the way, there's some neat stuff, some pretty views, some pull-offs. And we'll do that today, and then I'll have a video about Yellowstone separate because it's just such a huge place. And maybe in this video, we'll also find some camping tonight. I don't know what that's gonna look like yet. It is a weekend, and I never go to a big park like Yellowstone on the weekend, and so I'm sure it's gonna be super, super fun. But the good news is it doesn't get dark till like 9, so I have some time. Yeah, and the song of the day is The Clash. Should I stay or should I go? Because that's kind of what I was doing this morning. Should I stay in Cody since I woke up late? Should I just go ahead and go? We're gonna go. We're gonna go. Okay, along the road, there's tons of places that you can pull off, but one in particular is a dam. And this isn't just like a regular dam that you get out and you say, oh, there's the water. This one has a pretty cool story. And inside there's a little museum, so let's check it out. We start out by learning about the dinosaurs that they have found, but going back to the dinosaurs right here in 1991, they actually found this. And this was a place near Grable. This is an Allosaurus, and it was from the Jurassic period, approximately 150 million years ago. They also were able to cast its forearm claw, which we see right here, and you can actually touch. This is just one tiny claw on this big guy right here who was very clearly a meat eater. But as we continue going, you learn about fossil finds and how that they possibly died. And then also Spirit Mountain Cave, which was originally called Frost Cave after Ned Frost, who found it by accident in 1908. He was actually chasing a mountain lion with his dogs, and the cave popped up and he found it. And after his discovery, he included other people into this discovery, such as Buffalo Bill, which is standing right here in the middle. Now the cave became a problem for the dinosaurs and many other animals because they would fall into it and then they'd be trapped. And so they found all sorts of really interesting things inside of it. And so we can learn a little bit more about that, but there's so much more here in this tiny little space. And so I thought, let's just kind of graze over some of it to kind of talk about it, because this is why you stop off at every single visitor center. Here we can learn about the lands themselves and all of the wildlife, and each one of these paragraphs tells you a bit more about the wild horses or the grouse that are in this area. And then we go around to the Bighorn Basin landscape, and they talk about how they were able to measure it and how they were able to document it. There's a film here. And then of course, we have a section about Buffalo Bill himself. And as we move through this, he had a dream to create this reservoir, which later turned into this massive dam that it was at one point in time considered to be the largest dam in the United States. It tells you more about the dam and how they were able to build it in 1905. And at the time of its completion in 1910, 5 years later, it was almost $1 million. And it was the highest amount that they had spent on a dam to date. And they used concrete, and then it was considered to be an arch dam because of the way that it's laid out. Now this was in 1946, President Harry S. Truman granted a request to give them the new name from the Shoshone Dam to the Buffalo Bill Dam, because again, his impact in this community was that big. Creating the dam was hard. It was really hard. They were in some extreme elements, and because of that, a lot of really crazy things happened with this one, including several deaths. So when you come here, realize that this was not just a grab and go and easy thing. This was a very difficult labor of love that created something that now benefits the entire area that we are in Wyoming in such a unique way, but also helps with mitigation in addition to irrigation. And I think that that is the bigger story of why things like this are so important and why we come into places like this to learn. Now, since I picked up a patch, we can move on to the other side. The other side is more about the vegetation and all of the things that you can find here in way of the animals and the critters. And there is another video on this side that you have to check out. But there's also some incredible views from this room. So as you can see here, there's a little bit more information about like the dam and how it works. And then you'll notice this huge room of windows. And if we go over here and we take a look down, there it is. Wow, the canyon is beautiful. There's gonna be some other views too, but I wanna go ahead and go through this room just a little bit with you guys, because wow, this is so cool. This is absolutely free to stop off at. You can get a stamp in your passport book because this is a welcoming site when it comes to the national park system. This is something that is on their list. And they have that little shuttle, so it's accessible to literally everyone. So this is a great way to start the morning. Here we learned that the changing needs of the community have been provided for by this dam for quite some time, including flood control, which we spoke about, and power, where they started generating power in 1922. Currently, it provides 100 million kilowatt hours per year. They also use this as a fish and wildlife site. They use municipal water from this area. 6 towns and 7 rural areas, in fact, receive water from the treatment plant that is attached to the dam. And then of course, recreation. You can see some of the items that they have used in the construction, including this nut right here. And this is a common size used to connect the components of the power plant and the water outlet. And it's as big as my hand. It's huge. Now I found this to be really interesting because if you walk outside right now, it's a bunch of timber, looks like this. So this explains how that they actually remove all of that timber. And it says that they use this equipment, the big equipment, and they pull it out to the side kind of, and then they start basically craning it out. And they do this because it's one of the safer ways to remove the driftwood and debris that comes down every single spring. And most of the wood collects behind the dam, and this is why they have to take it out so it doesn't block up the dam. Okay, that was incredible. you never know what you're gonna find until you actually stop. And this is a stop that I missed last time that I was here because I did not see it until it was too late. You come through like 3 tunnels and the last tunnel is super, super long. And so whenever I got through the tunnel the first time, I was like, oh, it says that there's a museum or visitor center somewhere, and I passed it because there was a lot of traffic on the opposite side, so I didn't see it. And then it was harder for me to turn around. So I came back today and I am so glad that I did. This place was really nice. They have the shuttle service that takes you to the actual dam. And then of course you have the museum and the dam itself, which is pretty neat, but it ties you back into the bigger story of Cody. And I think that that is really cool. So now that I have finished up this stuff, it's time to get back on the road and see what else we can find. A couple of other interesting facts that you can find out here is you can pick up information about Yellowstone. So if you are not being just solo, somebody can be reading along the way into the park and get some great knowledge before you get there. Otherwise, you can sit out in the parking lot here and just check it out. That's what I'm about to do. And it gives me some tips and tricks for the park. For example, did you know in 1872, Congress passed legislation to make Yellowstone the first national park? What? There are also 67 species of mammals and 320 bird species in Yellowstone. This is so handy. This is one of the most handy pieces I have found. It tells the history and the culture, who was here first, every single hotel that you can stay at, every single campground, directions from every direction. This book, if you see it, pick it up if you're going. Just do it. You will not regret it. This is so handy. This is going to help me so much more than anything I have found online so far. Why is it going to help me more? Because I can physically carry this. And I know that a lot of people don't like to collect things and physically carry stuff. But as you go into the park, the service is pretty limited in some of the places. So having something like this can be handy because it helps you to still have the information even long after your cell phone just kind of looks at you with the screen saying offline, 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 because that's what mine did the entire last trip I was here, offline. But now I am ready. I've kind of read through and I got some ideas, and so this is going to give me some context for moving into the park, and now I know how I'm going to proceed with you guys on that next video. I am so excited, but we still got to get there. Okay, I missed something on the road, so turn it around right now. There are so many interesting things along this roadway, and I've looked at some of them before, but this is something that I did not see last time, so I don't know if it's newer. It's been some years since I've been here, so I'm kind of intrigued, and it should be right up here on the right. It looked like it was a firefighter memorial of some kind. Bluff does signify firefighters that were lost in a wildfire in 1937. 15 of them perished, and this is the beginning of a trail that is marked by 2 markers here that goes down the Blackwater area, and the actual site of the fire was about 5 miles down, and ultimately the trail leads you to a knoll where they took refuge and ultimately perished. But this is here and has their names on it, and many people have left little pieces of memorabilia from other fire departments in show of support and solidarity. Other people were injured as well. Over 1,200 acres burned. And this is important to see because it tells us not only how fragile life is, but also how quickly forest fire can take over and turn into something very gruesome. And it's a beautiful place now. That's the wild thing about these places, that we see these horrific events happen. They're gorgeous, beautiful places, but in the drop of a hat, things can change and get very dangerous very quickly. So that's why it's always important for us to stay mindful, but also to recreate responsibly. Glad we stopped here, but that is a super sad story. Those who fight fires, they are brave individuals. They run toward the thing that every one of the rest of us run away from. So I always try to stop and pay my respects when I see something like this. Yeah. Last time I was here, I went up this little mountain road to the Wayfarers Church just to see what it was. So I thought today we could revisit it. When I came down this way the last time, I was in my car. That's how long it's been. And I saw this and I was like, oh, it says there's a little tiny church up on the hill. Okay, cool. It's a little bit of a bumpy road, so let's go. looks like this, but it's a pretty neat stop. A lot of people probably don't stop at it because they see that it says church and they're not interested in that. But I like to go to places that are a little unique. And from here, there's an incredible view. So here's the van. There's a little path over here, and it's just a really pretty mountain top. But look at this view. I don't know what's up here anymore, so I figure we could just take this little trail just to see. It is pretty overgrown right now, but you just kind of go up into this area. And there it is at the top of the hill. It's just an outdoor area that they can assemble. It's beautiful. It's beautiful here. The wildflowers are blooming. Definitely worth a little pull off. Definitely worth it. Oh. My lungs are lunging a little bit though. The altitude change again is a little weird on my body, but you know what? It's worth it. This is helping us stretch our legs and get moving before we get into the park. Oh, it's incredible out here though with all the flowers. Just down the hill, there was this beautiful pull-off, so I decided to take a minute and just take in the views. Wow. Oh, this is what makes my life so happy most of the time. If I can wake up and find something like this every day, sign me up. Yes, please. This is incredible. I have no service here whatsoever, but I'm not even worried about my service. It's just that amazing. So gorgeous through here, and there's a slight breeze. It's a little bit more calm than it was at the other place that I was at because I'm kind of down lower, I think. But wow, this is breathtaking. This is why I travel, to see things like this that are not in my backyard, that never will be in my backyard, and I can have them in my backyard for a day here in the van. Well, we made it to Yellowstone. So, since we made it to Yellowstone, I am excited because this is where the adventure actually begins. I'm so happy to be back here, and it's gorgeous driving in. So, Yellowstone, here I come. So, it's a little bit afternoon, so I needed to eat something. So, I picked up these when I was at the Walmart also. These are barbecuing with my honey truffle, and these are wrap snacks. They're just some chips. I thought barbecue with truffle could be super, super good, so let's try it out. Are they gonna be good? I don't know, but I thought it was worth the shot to get something different. They smell good. They don't smell weird or anything, so we'll see. These are actually pretty good. It's kind of like a tangy barbecue. So just because they say wrap snacks doesn't mean they're not good, guys. Try them out. You can find them different places. I found these at Walmart. I also am a packaging person, so I saw this on the packaging and thought this is perfect for our adventure path today. Take advantage of every moment in life. Yes, absolutely. Is it kind of silly that the packaging says that and doesn't mean anything really significant? No, but I live by that motto, so I thought, hey, let's do this. Okay, I went and grabbed the Road Pro out of the back, and I put my chicken sandwich, which is completely and totally frozen, into this little aluminum pan. I'm going to close it up, and I'm going to use my van to cook this. One of these sandwiches takes about 25 minutes. So 25 minutes of driving will have me some actual lunch. So the nice thing about traveling the way that I do is that I have the ability to cook my food right here in the van, no matter what. So I don't have to worry about necessarily pulling into a place to eat at a concessionaire, which is much more expensive in a national park. So I have my little chicken sandwich. I have some sauce in the back or in the fridge, depending on what kind of sauce I want to put on it. And so now all I got to do is drive. I'm at about 92% on the Jackery, which is what I was charging from this front port. So I'll just unplug that for a little while. Whenever it's finished, I'll continue topping it off. But all in all, this is a good management of all my DC ports. Anyway, I'm gonna get to cooking my lunch and driving around and seeing some more beauty. I'm not gonna show you guys as much of Yellowstone in this video because I want you to go check out the other video that I'm doing, just because I'm kind of showing what you can see from the east as you come in and what stops I personally would take, and kind of giving a little bit of the context. And then I'm going to do a secondary video that talks a little bit more about the history with other views from a different perspective of the park. It's just too big of a park. The last time I was here, I did 3 videos, and I felt like realistically, I needed to come back and do better videos because that was early on in my channel. So with that said, it's time for me to get to work and my food to get to cooking. There it is, the Road Pro. It has the light on, which means that it is going. So it should start getting pretty warm. I have it sitting up on top of the fridge. So this is a perfect way for me to be able to just check it out in a few minutes and make sure everything's good. Not to mention, it doesn't seem to slide when it's up here. It's pretty secure. So this is working out good for me. Okay, it's gonna take me a little bit more than 20 minutes to make my meal because I just stopped and turned off the van entirely because I saw a bear. I know a lot of people will be like, oh no, you saw a bear, that's terrifying. But this was not a terrifying experience. It was incredible. And then I saw a bison, I saw some deer. Today is a wildlife day and I am so psyched. At the same time, I'm staying my distance. I have my bear spray. I am good. I just happened to be standing next to this guy who was at one overlook that I went to whenever I was at the lake, and he was at a different spot, and he was like, hey, did you ever see the bear that was at the other place? And I was like, no. And he was like, well, here's a black bear, and he pointed it out, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. But then he told me some other things about where I could possibly see a grizzly. That is one of the oldest grizzlies in this area. It's over in Teton, and he told me where, and I am so excited because he has this huge ginormous photo lens and he takes photos of the bears, and that was some great insight. And again, just gonna take my bear spray, not gonna put myself in harm's way, don't worry guys. But oh my goodness. So it started raining earlier and then it stopped, and now it's starting to rain again. These are bigger drops this time. And it's getting more windy progressively also. So since it's a little bit later in the afternoon, I may not continue the course of my Yellowstone today. I may go and find my campsite. I'm still a little ways away. So if this lifts, that might change, but yeah. I don't want to try to explore the park and not be able to fully enjoy it. And tomorrow's going to be sunny, so if I can't get the rain to stop, I will find a nice place to chill. Sadly, that's what happens, but I have time. I set my own schedule, so if that means that I have to come back into the park tomorrow and work on doing some stuff, cool, I'm fine with that. But I would rather not be rushed in my experience because I'm getting pelted by rain. It just doesn't make for an ideal journey for me whenever it comes to me filming because I have so many moving parts. So I would prefer to just kind of take it slow. Yeah, it's definitely starting to pick up a bit more, and the roads through here are pretty wet, which means that it's probably been doing this off and on for a bit. So I think I am gonna go ahead and head over to my campsite. Days like today, you know, they start out one way, they go a different way, and along the way, the adventure is what you do in between. Okay, I made it to my camp, and now it is time for me to hang up my patch from earlier today. And I think I'm gonna download stuff. It's still pretty warm outside, and it's no longer rainy. When I came down kind of out of the mountain area where I was, it stopped raining. But it was already too late. I'd already committed to coming over here. It was getting later in the day and I wanted to secure my campsite because it's a little harder to camp around the park if you don't have a reservation. So at least until Monday, I have a spot here. So I think what I'm gonna do is tomorrow, instead of going directly into Yellowstone, I am going to instead go over to Jackson, and then I am going to go to Teton, I think, if I have time, or I'm gonna go to Jackson tomorrow and then I'm going to go to Teton the next day and then head to Yellowstone again to finish up my video and then do the rest of the park and get to my northern campsite, which we'll see what it ends up being. So I'll show you guys the views in just a little while if I remember to do so. I am pretty tired though, so downloading is gonna take me a bit and my brain cells are struggle busting. Let me see if I can get this guy out of here real quick. There he goes. Oh, and we close it so we don't get the big ones because there's a bunch of them just kind of swarming around. You can't see them. There they go. There they go. They're huge. They're huge. I have no idea why. They're everywhere though, so it is what it is. But yeah, guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. I'm gonna kick in phase 2, which is work. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.